Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone. I am Yogi Pratama and I'm a student of English department in 6th semester. In this occasion, I'm about to share my analysis of short story that I have chosen a couple of days ago. So without any further ado, let's get started. Well, for the very first, I'm about to read my summary that I have made before because this story is a little bit long, so I make it as short as possible. And after I read my summary, I'm going to show to you my PowerPoint, and in the PowerPoint, I already written my analysis of this short story. And the title of this short story is Little Red Riding Hood, or in Indonesia we call it Si Tudung Merah. So we can continue to my summary. Little Red Riding Hood. Once upon a time, there was a dear little girl who was loved by everyone who looked at her. One day, her grandmother asked her to deliver some cake and wine because her grandmother was under the weather. And then the grandmother lived out in the wood. So when she walked toward her grandmother's house, she met with an apple wolf. And then the apple wolf suggested her to look around the forest before she arrived to grandmother's house. And then she thought that was a good idea to take some flower that she could give to her grandmother. But she didn't realize that was the wolf's trap. And while she was running deeper into the forest to take some flower, the wolf went to grandmother's house. And then after the wolf arrived to grandmother's house, the wolf went to her grandmother's house and the wolf devoured her grandmother. After Little Red Riding Hood got a lot of flowers, she realized that she had to go to her grandmother's house, but she felt there was something wrong with grandmother, and there was a wolf who pretended to be her grandmother, and the wolf devoured Little Red Riding as well. But fortunately, there was a huntman that saved them by cutting wolf's stomach. Okay, so we can continue to my analysis of this short story. Now, let's continue to my analysis of this short story. And I'm sorry if I'm not focused on the camera because I have to read my analysis, and I will show you my analysis on the screen as well so you can read my analysis. Well, we can start from the setting of this short story. There are three places they use in this short story. The first is at Little Red Riding Hood's house in the wood and at grandmother's house. And there are four characters in this short story. There are mother, grandmother, Little Red Riding Hood, and the wolf. For the mother character, she was a good mother and care of her daughter. And for the grandmother character, she was so kind and she loved to her grandchild a lot. And for the Little Red Riding Hood character, she was an innocent girl and a little bit brave. And then for the wolf character, he was obviously mean and crafty. And for the plot of this short story, the plot of this short story is forward, a technique that was chronology describes the future coherently. And the conflict that I found in this short story in the part the grandmother lived out in the wood, half a league from the village, and just Little Red Riding Hood entered the wood. A wolf met her. Little Red Riding Hood did not know what a wicked creature he was and was not at all afraid of him. Next, the climax of this short story I found in the part she was surprised to find the cottage doors standing open, and when she went into the room, she had such a strange feeling that she said to herself, "Oh dear, how uneasy I feel today." And at other time, I like being with grandmother so much. She called out good morning but received no answer. So she went to the bed and drew back the curtains. They lay her grandmother with her cap pulled far over her face and looking very stranger. That's the climax of this short story, and then the resolution of this short story in the part the husband was just passing the house and thought to himself how the old woman is snoring. I must just see if she wants anything. So he went into the room, and when he came to the bed, he saw that the wolf was laying in it. "Do I find you here, you old sinner?" said B. "I have long sought you." Then, just as he was going to fire at him, it occurred to him that the wolf might have devoured the grandmother and that she might still be saved. So B did not fire, but took a pair of scissors and began to cut open the stomach of sleeping wolf. That's the resolution. And then next we continue to point of view. The writer as third person, he wanted to tell us that the short contain a story about Little Red Riding Hood. In the story, the Little Riding Hood went to her grandmother's house to give cakes and wine, but in the middle of her way, she met with an evil wolf. The wolf devoured grandmother and Little Red Riding Hood, and the huntsman saved them by cutting open wolf's stomach. And then the last is the theme. The theme of this short story is vigilance. The center message of this short story that we should be careful when we meet with the stranger that we never met before. So that's all my analysis of this short story. Thank you very much. Biar topik holiday. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.